Welcome back to the Curvaceous Bounty of Sin City on Vegas, allnetradio.com. The final frontier, a free fucking speech where you can say whatever the fuck you want. We're here with we're here with Joe and Heidi, Joseph Peroni, and Heidi Mancini. I love your name, by the way.
These are like both Italians here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And
like crazy Sicilian.
I'm the hotheaded one. I'm the hotheaded one. He's the calm one.
I'm the very calm one.
Heidi's got to talk more because she's
one.
got the New York thing going.
I am the crazy one.
Hey, where are you from?
I'm from upstate New York near
See,
Buffalo.
what did I say?
He's from Long Island, so he's actually more of a New Yorker than me. But
yours comes out a little more. It's cute.
I lost my
like
accent.
now they host the From Grief to Relief show that's right here on Vegas on Net Radio every Thursday at 2 p.m. All of their archives are up on their Vegas on Net Radio page. So if you go to Vegas on Net Radio, just go to the programs page and find the picture of the two of them, because it's a beautiful picture. I made them give me a picture of the two of them to put on the front. And they're on Facebook. You have a Facebook page for the show and the book, actually, which is double duty. And so you can find them there. You guys don't Twitter.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Figure out how to do that.
Maybe.
maybe soon.
Use what you got.
Alexia will drag you kicking and screaming into the social media universe.
Hey, it works.
I love it. She's awesome. She's been helping me a lot.
She's
She's a great student, yes.
She's great. I call her up. She helps me
I
out.
want to hear more about the show. Like, what kind of topics do you cover? I know it's based off your book. Do you follow the book, or do you?
Well, it also deals with, you just went to school to get a degree.
Right. Yeah, I have a master's in marriage and family therapy.
Right.
Oh, wow,
too.
awesome.
So,
Yeah, so
this last show was how men's
feelings.
What we really
feelings.
think,
Yeah,
yes.
what men really think.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love that.
Because I was looking at our numbers. You guys are better at it with all this computer setup. But we know that about 70% of our audience are women. So I thought grief to relief, very important in relationships, that women should know how men think. You know, especially I get to hear Heidi a lot at the salon. And they always talk, and I'm like, why do women talk to other women about what men think? You never get a straight answer.
You can't get a straight answer out of guys either, because they lie.
You know what? We do talk about that, but there's a reason sometimes we lie.
Because there's a penalty.
Because of the penalty that's involved. Either we're going to be judged or there's something to pay. But when you hear men talk, that's why I'm letting the cat out of the bag, so to speak, on the show. I'm telling you how guys really think.
Wow.
So you can go home with your guy and you'll go, okay, now I know why you're not talking, because you think I might punish you for this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
We do that.
We do punish our men, you know. You said
I
what?
don't.
Like one word they
Oh,
don't
no.
say right.
I remember when you said, it was 5 years ago, but you
Well,
said.
women
We
have,
talk about that,
They
too. Yeah.
they don't forget anything. It's like, and that's, what did you call that? Rumination?
Well,
When-
technically speaking,
but there's a
part
reason
of the,
for that,
Right,
though,
there is.
in
There's
the
a part of the
brain, for
brain
real.
called the amygdala, which is more developed in women. But that's a good thing. But on the other side of it is it increases women's ability to ruminate, which means going over and over and over the
tape in your
same
head.
negative stuff.
My ex-husband
Yeah.
used to say I had a VCR in my head that I could replay. Are you damn straight? I don't forget
Right.
nothing. Yeah.
But see, here's the difference between men and women. The man would have that tape, but he fixes it. Whereas women tend to still go over it
Hold on
and over
to
it
it.
and over
Wait a
it.
minute.
and over
They
it.
don't fix
Wait,
it, Joe.
do they rationalize it or do they fix it?
Well, a real man does try to fix it.
Men, I
Okay.
think, compartmentalize.
See, but then there's
too.
the
Yes,
other
they
part
do.
of the problem.
You're
They
right.
can compartmentalize. It's like when men have affairs and stuff, they justify in their own what they'll have a reason.
Yeah,
they
they
put it in-
rationalize
They
it, yeah.
compartmentalize it in their own little way.
I don't love
And
her
they
like I
ration-
love my wife.
And they rationalize it. They make it right. They make it work for whatever the situation is.
Yeah, you're right.
And I'm right about that.
You're 100%.
I'm 100% right, Joe.
Why do you
Except
disagree?
for-
Wait. Do you disagree with that, Joe?
I think, human beings rationalize. But why do people cheat? Why do men cheat?
Well, I think.
actually
Can
have
I
the
ask
answer.
you? Can I tell you my opinion why men cheat?
Absolutely.
This is
'Cause
you
they're
can tell
dogs?
me. You can tell me if I'm right or wrong.
I'll give
when
my
a
opinion,
woman
too.
cheats, she totally is not. It's not for sex.
Right.
It's for an emotional connection.
Absolutely.
And men want some strange,
You know,
or they're not getting it at home.
the real use the word strange. I'll use that. Actually, the numbers are very, very similar. About 92% of men cheat because they want to have more emotion. They're not getting the
Really?
emotional response at home. There's about 8 to 10% that act out, because their own vanity. That's how they build their self-esteem, by trying to get a girl.
Right.
But that's really not too much.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think that's what modern television shows want you to believe, and that's what they portray, that their wife treats them like crap at home or doesn't talk to them or doesn't give them sex, so they go out and find somebody else. And I think that's media only. I'm going to
argue
I want to put my 4 cents in here.
Okay.
I'm gonna disagree with that. I can see now. I am not a normal female, and I've been told by quite a few therapists, "You think like a man."
Yeah, me
thank
too.
you. I can see where I met my wife, I married my wife, I've been with my wife for 15 years now, but I'm not the same person I was when I married my wife, and she still treats me like I am the same person. And I can't be the new person that I am because she'll leave me. But I love her so much, and I don't want her to leave me. But I can go find this other girl, and I can be myself with her. And I can be this new person that I am with her and the old person that I am with my wife. And I get the best of both worlds until those two worlds collide. And I think that might be subconsciously with some guys, especially the guys who are cheating for emotional reasons.
I think that people that change that much, no guy is going to say, okay, I'm gonna, act this way with my. You're just getting divorced. It's
my dad did it until he got caught. He did until he got caught cheating on my mom. He was the same guy, a little bit different, but the same guy, that he had been until he got caught, and then suddenly he was this completely different person. And he said, I've changed so much, and I don't love you anymore.
So do the conversations because it's usually just the two of you when you have these kinds of conversations, right?
These kinds of conversations.
Does this happen?
You know what? The thing that happens is I have to try not to personalize things because when we talk about these topics, he'll say, well, like I have to go, sometimes I'll get paranoid. I'm like, is he trying to tell me something? Like he's going to go cheat or he's going to, honestly, because we've gotten into some arguments and disagreements because of
that's
course.
The best part of the show.
Because we don't do it on the show necessarily, but behind the scenes when we're talking about cheating and different things, of course, Joe has the male version of cheating. And of course, I'm a female that I listen to girls all day long and the things that go on with the female side of it. So yeah, we'll debate some things. I'm like, Joe, I don't want to hear it because you're not a woman. You don't know how women feel. Just like I don't know how a man feels. And then, of course, you get all the media crap going on of what they want people to believe on top of it. And to me, cheating, my opinion is I do think that people cheat for emotional reasons. There's that few thing in there where it's some
both
deviant
males and females,
behavior.
you think,
male and female. And I think that when it comes to like a sexual thing, like you want to do crazy sex and all this kind of stuff, I think that kind of stuff falls into a different. I think when men do
usually
that,
you can
they
just
may
go
have
pay a prostitute.
Well, the
Madonna
Madonna
you don't need to get
syndrome,
into a relationship.
They'll be
for it.
married to a wife and they won't want to do this crazy stuff with their wives, but they'll go out with a girlfriend, some prostitute or crazy.
Because they don't want their wife doing the crazy stuff.
Because they don't want their
right?
wives doing the crazy, or they don't want their wives to judge them and go, "Oh my God, I did not know you were into this garbage."
Right.
But half of the time, a lot of the women, honestly, from the people I've talked to, my friends. The women want that kind of stuff. For real.
Right.
Women want to be manhandled. They want to be thrown around. They want all that crazy stuff.
Spice it up.
Whips, chains, and welts, baby.
And men that want the traditional stuff, sometimes that can cause a problem too with the females.
So that's where the communication comes in because I noticed this too. Again, women tell women that. Mm-hmm. They need to tell their husbands that.
True.
Because all men will step up to the plate to please a woman.
No,
that
women,
is not true.
Women do that. Women say they do it subtly. They're not the forthright kind of, hey, I want you to beat my ass tonight. They don't kind of do that kind of stuff, right? They leave hints
or turn the porn on that they like or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And guys just don't get it sometimes.
Yeah, they don't.
Because they don't just come out and say, I want you to beat my ass when we go and fuck. That's what I want you to do. I want you to
men
beat
are
it
not
up.
good at reading between the
See,
lines.
we have a whole
they're not.
show on mind reading, and that's one of the number one communications problems women have. They expect men to be mind readers.
One of my girlfriends who is a real good friend of mine, she said to me, she goes, you do whatever the hell you want in the bedroom, whether he likes it or not. Because he doesn't know what he wants. You don't know what you like. So she goes, just bring it on. And I said, well, what if I get embarrassed? What if I do something that embarrasses me? She goes, listen, whatever you want, it's about you. Just if he's going to be weird about it, that's his problem.
Look, if you fart in bed, you laugh it off and you keep going. Right. That's what happens. We have a question in chat.
To Joe and Heidi, have y'all tried online dating before?
I think we're going to anglicize his writings from this point forward.
Oh, it's all right. I don't mind.
I have not, and I'll answer this question really. I was married for 22 years. I don't know if I want to tell everybody this. And I did not date after my divorce. Joe was my next relationship. So I don't have any crazy online stories to tell anybody. I don't have any history with that.
I'm sure you've fallen out of bed a few times
Have I fallen out of bed?
during sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that have something to do with online dating?
No.
Oh, okay.
But
She
talking about
said
didn't
she
have
had
any
no
crazy-
stories. You have stories,
I gotcha.
just not dating stories.
I don't have dating stories.
Right. What about you, Joe? Did you ever try online dating after your wife passed?
Yeah, there's another thing on our show we talk about. You need to have a good, healthy self-esteem before you start trying to date people.
That's true.
Or else
Because
you're
if
gonna
you
be
hate yourself,
yeah,
it comes across.
Yeah, because you're going to be a magnet, and you could be a magnet for really good people if you feel good inside, but I wasn't for a while. So I attracted a lot of jerks. And one of the things I did was I did go on this online dating thing, and it was horrible. All it was just, it destroyed my self-esteem
I remember
even
him
more.
saying, "Nobody likes me," because we would train, and he goes,
First of all-
"Nobody likes me." And I said, "Joe, what did you do? What was your profile?" So he tells me his profile, and he says, "Works out, bodybuilder, whatever he said," and they have a picture of him on there. I said, "Listen, the group that you're targeting, number one." I said, middle-aged women, they're going to look at you and go, forget it. I'm not going out with that guy. He's too,
or you
he's
know
in
what?
too
Or
good
they
of a
think
shape.
that it's not his picture, that
Right.
it's somebody else's picture.
Or they're gonna stereotype you as a typical jock, big dumb,
Yeah, I don't know what they
bullheaded.
did, but I did get one response, and it was only because she wanted to be a citizen in the United States. She wanted
We
to
get that all the time.
So
God.
that was the only one I got. It was terrible.
Oh, I have good self-esteem, so I don't really care.
So I want to know now. You talked a little bit about the conversations that you guys have off the air. Now the conversations that you have on the air, if they get heated and spicy, which it's good for the air, right? Because that's radio. That's the way it's supposed to be.
I believe it is.
But how do you guys deal with? Because you talk about issues that normally most people don't talk about, and you have to deal with them because you're going to be doing it on air. So how do you? I know that
Balance
you
it,
said.
yeah.
I know that you said that you have to not take things personally.
I have to not take things personally. It's just, as a girl, and my whole thing when we talk about self-esteem issues and all this on our show, I have insecurities. There's a huge difference between low self-esteem and insecurities, and I want to make that clear because that gets confused all the time. I have a very good self-esteem because if I did not, I would not work out. I could not discipline myself to do what I'm doing to hit a specific goal. My insecurities are no different than any other female, and that's sometimes fed from environment, from when we're brought up, and also things that we see women on a visual, dealing with women day to day. Women make other women very insecure because women are very
bitches.
untrustworthy.
They're vicious.
They just are, and that's why I always
Cannibalistic.
tell Joe, I said it's not about you. I said it's about
Bitches.
other women having disrespect for other females
But
and
who
how
pays the price?
the men
Women.
do.
I do.
Well, no, but
Or
it is-
self.
There are some topics,
Yeah.
that we'll talk about, and I'm the one I have to admit. I just tend to get a little bit irritated or defensive, with certain things, and
Now,
and there's definitely a difference.
do you have a healthy respect for the way that she may react to some of the conversations, or do you just blunder through like any dude does and say deal with it, or whatever?
Or yes,
Get
dear.
over it or
Yes,
get
dear.
out.
No, yes, dear.
Right,
yes,
right.
dear. And you really
Or are
don't
you
care.
one of those get over it or get out kind of dickheads?
We call them douchebags.
See,
okay?
here's the funny part. It's funny you say that because that conversation comes up a lot. Heidi will say that
Get
I will,
over it
that
or-
I will say that she'll say something to the effect of, "You just want me to get over it." And the truth is what I've always said to her. I have never said those words ever. Those are the words that you society or other women or other people, but I
Or
have
men.
never said those. I have never said those. What I do is I try to talk through it and get more of an awareness and understanding of the other person. I'm never trying to throw my opinion on them.
Well, and I think with me, where I get into trouble with him, is that I don't want to hear that side of it. Like I am so defensive sometimes of the female, and just from my history again, that seems to
Right.
come up a lot. My past history with my ex and things that I've gone through, that it's like at times I don't want to hear it. Like I don't want to hear about the cheating. I don't want to hear about anything about male deficiencies and all that, because sometimes I'm just like they're kind of turkeys, And so
douchebags.
I have to learn to not do
Cocksucking
that.
dick fuckers.
Right. And I have to be able to have an
Pieces
open
of
mind and
shit.
say, okay, not all guys are jerks, or
Not all guys are dickwads.
Do you,
you know.
since every show is kind of like a therapy session sometimes? I mean, you guys have fun. Don't get me wrong. You guys have a lot of fun. You play some great music. You even have some great guests on your show, musicians and leaders in the community and stuff. But a lot of your shows, they're very therapeutic. So, do you have you found that you're closer because of the show and talking about the subjects that you do, or have you? I think Heidi has found more of an independence because of the show. And she's not afraid to speak her mind a little bit more. Because I remember when I first met you, you were very quiet. But of course, it wasn't your show. It was Joe's show, and you were co-hosting. But you have no problem now going, wait a minute.
Well, one of the things is he's told me in the show, he says, you don't say anything. You sit back. And, like, after the show, I would say, well, I wanted to say this or I want to do that. And he says, why don't you? And so I'm starting, like I said, I even said this to him today. I said, I will commit to being more involved with the show. I mean, I do the social media, but I kind of go, it's your show, I'm there, but I'm not kind of thing. But she keeps saying to me, you are part of the show, and you need to be more active.
Well, the back and forth of a couple together talking about what you're talking has to be a much more interesting show. So, because I know before the show, Joe was saying, like, you guys don't script, we just say what, and that's what you're talking about. You just need to say what's on your mind.
Our last show was a really good show because we ended up getting off the track, and we ended up having a dialogue between the two of us the whole show. And he said that was probably one of the best shows we did. And I listened to it today, and I was like, yeah, it was, because we were actually going back and forth.
Well, I think it's good because it's a work in progress on the relationship and actually you. Because as much as you hate me half the time for saying some things,
I don't hate you.
But it's a really good exercise in what people talk about, because you, being a female, somewhere, which I don't understand it totally because I'm a man, you automatically take the background role. And you always say
a lot of women do, you're right.
Yeah, and here's the funny thing. I have never told her that she was the sidekick. I always said we co-host. She's equal to me. Now, when I try to do that, she'll still back out and say, well, it's your show, I'll talk sometimes. So as you see, she's getting more involved. That's her becoming, at least in my opinion, more of a full woman. And I like that. I don't think it's argumentative. I think you're supposed to have an opinion.
Well, what about you? Have you found yourself being more of a teacher, more open? Have you found yourself changing because of it?
All of it. One of the and I say this every single week, whenever we have guests, especially. I have learned more from interviewing people on the show than I ever have in school. Every week I get to learn more about how people think and how they do things. It's just amazing how people overcome,
I think he's
their hard
become
things.
a little bit more, he's always been a caring guy, but I think he's actually become a little bit more understanding in how things work. And for our relationship, it's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
And one more thing, too, I noticed over the time. I know how on here we talk about that we're allowed to say any words we want, the final frontier. And I try to take it in a slightly different way. I have no problem with profanity. We started off our shows doing that, but I feel that's done very well by you guys. And
I thank you, Joe. Thank you very much.
That's right. We are the master motherfuckers.
So I try to take the show in a way that other people don't, though, too. Like the way I push the frontier is that, I don't want to name any names because I've seen some people on the shows, but when somebody cries, they tend to back off and go, it's okay. And they stop or they try to go to a commercial. I don't do that. I dig even harder because when I see tears,
what are you, Barbara
that's
Walters?
just better.
No. You know why? Because he has his
If you
degree.
were a twee.
Because
Yes.
of your degree, you've learned that means they're in their most vulnerable state. You're
Right.
trying to help them in their situation, so that's why you push like that.
Tears to me are just pain leaving the body. And they need a space to be open, to be able to talk. That's what they want. It's the problem is in their everyday life, everybody keeps shutting them down all the time. So when I have somebody in that moment, that real learning moment for them, I don't back off. I've seen all these other shows, and they all back off. I'm like, no.
Give
Here's
them a
the goal.
break or whatever, yeah.
So this is when I go in deeper. I ask them, I say, tell me about that worst day of your life. Tell me. And then I say, well, what made you so strong that you said, no, I'm going to make this better? And by the end, they're all, they love being on the show. Somebody gave them the respect.
We're going to have you guys on our show.
Okay.
We would love that.
We're gonna
have to
fuck up your
Figure
flow.
it out. You fuck it up, but it's okay. It can get
But you
fucked up. I
have to
don't
be
care.
vulnerable. See, that's the thing. You have to be vulnerable.
Oh, the three of us in this room, if we laid out our Like,
I think we're
I'll tell you
vulnerable
my
every
biggest
time we do a catch up.
You want my biggest insecurity? My biggest insecurity, I'm absolutely afraid of not being enough. Because in 100% of my relationships, I was not enough. They left me for someone who was.
I've got serious commitment issues,
That's
that's my insecure. I'm not insecure.
I am constantly worried that I will not be enough.
Well, when it comes to relationships, you mean? I don't know if I have
No, for
any.
everything.
For everything?
For everything.
Really?
Yeah.
And you are so much. I mean that in a good way. Like,
But I don't
smart
think it's... But it's not enough. It's not enough for everybody. It never has been. As much as I try,
you need to get rid of that. That's something from your mama or your papa. Because in your work life, I'm sure that people, like, we don't think you're not enough. I'm sure your boss doesn't think you're not enough.
No, my boss doesn't think I'm not enough, but I do.
The thing of it is what you portray on the outside and what you see and what Irma sees and even what I see, she doesn't feel that on the inside. And I could totally relate to her because I'm that way. People will say things to me and they see me, whatever they see, and I don't see that. So I can totally relate to the way she's saying with her insecurities that she's not good enough, she doesn't measure up, and she has to be
so sad.
the one to feel it. It doesn't matter
Worse.
what you say. It doesn't matter what he says, Irma says. She's got to be the one to feel it because once she feels that, it's not going to matter.
No, you're
somebody can kick you to the
right,
curb and you're going to go, see ya. I don't care.
Yeah.
Because somebody else will be there to pick her up.
Right. That's
So, a lot of these things are so internally, and they're so.
Well, and I always think about when how people react to certain things. I want to go back to how they were brought up, who was in their life, where did they learn that behavior from? You know, like that's where I want to go back and see. So,
and it is. Everything does come from way back in our childhood. Everything, how we cope, how we react, how our behaviors are when we're put, like that fight or flight syndrome that some people have. And it goes way back. But unfortunately, when we're growing up, people, they don't see it. They don't care about it.
You're right.
Be a good girl all the time. Don't show any anger. Don't be,
See, I am so fortunate. I on a daily basis say to my parents, like I was always a big girl, always. But my parents just always said that you can do anything you want. You can be anybody you want to be. So I never had a insecurity problem. And I had gone through a time where I went to a counselor, and after about 6 months of going to her, she said, for 6 months I've been trying to make this a weight issue. You have no weight issue. I was like, duh,
Right.
I've been trying to tell you that. Because people say it on the outside, but it's what they live. So I believe that 100% that was from my parents, that they, I was president of 5 clubs in high school. I always had boyfriends, but I think it's because they instilled all that positive in me. That no matter what I was like,
right?
You had great parents.
Yeah, I did have great
society,
parents.
That
I
was
do
another
have
thing
great
with the
parents.
looks and the shape and the this and the that. This is something we talk about on the show all the time too. Is that I see girls all the time, either at work or I work out with some women, every age group from 18 to 50, and it's a phenomenon to me that women don't like themselves, and they could have everything going for them, and they still don't. So I think it's great if a woman can be like, you know what, maybe I'm not as tall as I want to be, maybe I'm not as thin as I want to be, maybe I'm, whatever it is.
My ass isn't big enough.
My ass isn't big enough, my tits aren't big enough, whatever it is, and they can be okay with that because so many women walk around and they never feel good.
And that makes me so sad.
Because
It
everything
does.
is about your
So
looks
sad.
when you're growing up. Well, you're pretty, you're this, you're that. What about my brain? What about my
You'd be pretty
creative
if.
side? What
Those
about
are my favorite.
Oh yeah, I got her. If you
You're
just
what?
lose a few
Would-
pounds,
you'd be pretty
really
if.
pretty.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite start-offs. You'd be pretty if you wore different clothes. You'd be pretty if your hair was a different color. You'd be pretty if you dropped 150 pounds. You know what? You'd be pretty if I kicked you in the
just shut
face.
your mouth.
So your show is From Grief to Relief every Thursday at 2 o'clock.
Yes.
You have any plans of expanding at all, maybe?
Oh, we talk about it, but my social media person here would have to help a little bit more. I need to get her a little bit more involved.
Now, you guys have a great show. I love listening to your
Thank
show.
you.
Can they come back, Mama?
Yeah.
Because I this is good stuff.
I want to pick these brains some more.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is. I've enjoyed this so much. And are they done?
We've been trying to get them on for
Oh,
ever.
you guys,
Yeah.
will you come back, please?
Yes.
And maybe.
Sure.
And we need to talk a little bit about internal validation.
Oh, see,
Yeah,
he's got a
look at
therapy
that.
for
Oh,
you.
look, he's pointing at me now.
It makes you very vulnerable when you're waiting for the outside
Because
world
what
to
happens
tell you
is
if
you're always
good or
waiting
not.
for somebody to validate you from the outside, and the thing is you don't need that.
No, I'm not waiting for them to validate me. I know they won't. That's the thing. I understand that they won't, which is why I strive to be as good as I can be, and I am always disappointed in myself. I hold myself to a really high standard.
I know, but you know what? You're not validating yourself. You're not.
I'm not.
You know, and you have to come to a point where you got to say, I don't give a shit what you people think. I am who I am, and this is what I am, and take it or leave it.
I am wearing yoga pants today,
Now,
so that's part
what
of
do you
it.
guys have coming up this Thursday? Do you know what the topic is?
Yes. We have two guests. They're both IFBB professionals.
Is
which
that bowling?
In bodybuilding, actually.
Oh, okay.
We've got one guy who's a professional bodybuilder, and he's gone through, I think, 4 life risk surgeries. He's almost died 4 times. And we've got this other lady who just turned professional. She's a figure champion now. And she doesn't know this yet, so I'm going to tell you. She usually wins her shows. She just turned pro, and now she came in 8th place. So here's where I step in. I want to know where her head is at and if she's okay, because now it's always good when you win. I want to know what happens when you kind of
When you go from being
when
a
you
big
lose.
fish in a little pond to a little fish in a big pond.
Now, my
Well,
work comes in.
a lot of athletes go through sports to do exactly what you're talking about, get their self-esteem up. So, I mean, Nancy Kerrigan had to do it after the knee whack because she couldn't get out there and do her thing, like it was affecting her. So a lot of people go through that. So.
Yes, and some don't make it.
Because we
very
talked
well.
about this,
You're
Irma,
right.
about if you depend on something totally to build your self-esteem, because she had asked me the other day.
About competition.
Doesn't that make you feel worse if you have a low self-esteem? And I said, no, because I don't go in the show with that in my head. I go in there, I'm having fun, I met my personal goals, and that's it. But there are some people that, they get pissed off. They're like, what? Those judges suck, blah, blah, blah. Like their whole life depends on the thing if they come in first or
Well,
third.
then they're not enjoying it anymore.
No.
No, they can't enjoy it.
But they're not doing it for the right reason.
Right.
Reasons, yeah.
Right. Yeah, you guys are great. I really want you
Well, we
back.
enjoyed
Thank
coming
you.
on.
It was fun.
It was fun.
I was
That's
a little
the
nervous at first.
From
And we need them longer than an hour, okay? Next time?
that's from. Well, they can still stay. We just have to do our catch-ups, or our fans will get mad.
Okay.
So that's the From Grief
Stay
to
for
Relief
half hour.
show.
Riots on Facebook.
Yeah. Every Thursday at 2:00. You can catch all their archives at VegasAllNetRadio.com as well. And they're all labeled now.
Thank you, Irma. I
Thank
love
you.
you, Irma.
So go there and listen to them. And when we come back, we have our catch-ups.